South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. I'm Jeff Parles. Alex White is here. Kenny White is here. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey, Jeff, good morning.
It's a nice little Tuesday, the next to last one of April, as we get you ready for everything in sports here today. 4 playoff hockey games, 3 playoff basketball games, and a whole card of Major League Baseball here on a Tuesday. And, last night... just throwing this out there. First off, Nick Castellanos did not homer last night, so all you nut jobs out there who bet Castellanos, I did not do it in the end. Alex, the number got way too short. He did not homer, so the link to tragedy in Castellano homers may have been overplayed at this point. And now, also, too, last night, Alex, I just want to bring up, in the NBA, both road teams won yesterday. Pistons outright upset. Clippers won as a favorite, and Kawhi Leonard looked like Kawhi Leonard finally last night.
Yes, he did. And the Clippers really did. They needed that one after coming so close in the first one and really could have won that one. And the Pistons as well, right? The Knicks offense, I mean, they really struggled. So good to see those two tied up at 1-1. Probably have some long series there. And then we had some hockey tie-ups as well.
Well, I was going to say, the 4 hockey games last night, all 1-goal games, 2 overtime games. All 4 home teams win last night. Dallas is the first underdog to win a game outright in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'll be honest with you, I had turned the LA King game off and then saw that the Kings scored a goal with under a minute to go to win 6-5. I was like, wait a second here, what the hell happened in the third period? But for the Kings' sake, thankfully, they find a way to win last night, getting it done at the end with the game winner for Warren. Just, it would have been a disaster if they did not hold on to that one, Alex.
That is just the Oilers, though. I mean, we saw it with them all last year and their run to the Stanley Cup final, right? You can't ever count them out. 4 goals in that third period. Just insane. But Kings, if they would have lost that one, that would have been brutal for them. So good to see them get that win.
But a major collapse.
Well, yeah.
Major collapse. For a team who's been as good as they've been at home all year long, they needed that win. And that may be just the turning point in the series. Game 1 could be the turning point.
Yeah, it was Denal, I should say, who scored the game winner last night, 6-5 final with that one. I think the over was okay. In that game, but Kings do win and win as a short home favorite despite it getting very, very dicey at the end. All right, let's get into go ahead, Alex.
The Capitals a little scared too. Canadians really.
Yeah, that was 2-0 in the third period.
Yeah.
That's here. I still feel I picked Montreal in a big upset going into that series, even though Washington really outplayed them early. That kind of has the feel of being a long series. I'm not saying that Montreal is going to be able to pull the outright upset. By the way, of course, Ovechkin scores twice last night, including the game winner in overtime for Washington. But again, that still has the makings of a longer series for me. And credit Dallas as well, just so banged up, and they found a way to get it done in a long overtime, first overtime winner. To get it done in with Colin Blackwell getting the winner for Dallas to at least send that to Mile High, a game apiece. At least give Dallas an opportunity there. Again, still super talented, but again, as we know, incredibly injured to kick off this postseason. All right, let's get to tonight. 4 games in hockey, and we'll start there, and we'll start in Carolina, where, Alex, the hits just keep on coming for New Jersey. They get blown out in game 1. More injuries presiding over the Devils. Of course, we knew Jack Hughes was not going to play. No Brendan Dillon, no Lou Hughes tonight. Sheldon Keefe confirmed that in his skate-around presser this morning. And the Devils, who, again, were overmatched going into this series, are even more overmatched now. Minus 260 here at the South Point on Carolina, plus 220 on the take-back for New Jersey. 5.5 the total, but this is a very steep uphill battle for New Jersey now.
Trying to have a balance here of not being prisoner of the moment, because I kind of was with that Dallas series, right? And I even said our numbers say Dallas today at home, and I didn't want to touch that game. Same thing here, a little bit leaning to the Devils, but I mean, they do have so many injuries. And then their identity has been defense. I mean, they're 5th in goals against, holding teams just 2.68. But they've struggled to score all year, tied for 20th. So that makes me nervous, too, now playing this Canes team. And we saw the matchup in the first game with a team that rarely plays zone, right, and is just glued to these guys. So nothing for me in this one. I wish I could go under, but I can't even hear at that number at minus 130 for under 5.5. So nothing in this one.
I could go under that. I'll lay the $1.30 and go under the 5.5. You mentioned that the Devils' defense is their game, and that's what they want to play. They just want to shorten this game, keep themselves, stay in the game, stay close, and try to give themselves an opportunity to win it. So there's no way it's a shootout. Carolina plays great defense themselves. Frederick Anderson back. I think it's just another a 3-2 hockey game. You get an empty net. It could end up 4-2.
Carolina is minus 750 to win this series now. Again, just a very, very large mismatch with all these injuries. But look, you mentioned it, Alex. Dallas much more talented in New Jersey and not missing news for New Jersey. Even with missing Robertson for Dallas, they still have enough guys that can make up for it. New Jersey's roster really heavily reliant on Jack Hughes, as we know. But I think I'm with you guys. I think this is under. Maybe this is a New Jersey team total under as well. The problem is you're probably looking at a sharp 2.5 juice or a 1.5 with a plus price.
Yes.
It's a little bit dicey going under a 1.5 in any hockey game. So tread a little carefully on that. All right, let's go to the Battle of Ontario next. Maple Leafs, as we talked about yesterday, Alex, dominate game 1, even though Ottawa played a really good first period, but then the wheels came completely off. Bad game for Olmark, which was not what you're looking for Ottawa with a guy who has playoff experience like him. But look, the Maple Leafs were really humming by the middle of the second period in that game 1 and look like a team that is capable of making a deep run in this Stanley Cup playoffs. This one, Alex, minus 60 on the Leafs, plus 40 on the take-back on the Sens. 5.5 the total here for game 2 in Toronto.
Got to find a way, even if I'm just sprinkling a little here on the Sens. I think this is the game for them. And I know that it's tough because they are on the road, but I mean, you talked about it too. Ottawa, they won every regular season game. They can match up well against this Maple Leafs team. I think Olmark had to get that first one. And honestly, the entire Sens team, they were playing a little scared. Even though they played a good first period, they weren't playing their game. They were playing more not to lose than to win. So I expect a big turnaround from them here in this one. My number's right there, but I just like the matchup. I like this roster, and I like Allmark to have a bounce back spot here. So I'm leaning to the dog in this one. I wish I could even take the puck-and-a-half, but I don't want to lay minus 180, so I'd rather just sprinkle a little here on that money line.
Yeah, I think the number's right there. When you saw it at Toronto, they were clicking on all cylinders in game one, and that, we remember what we saw last, and a lot of people will bet Toronto and over in this game. That'll be probably a huge correlated parlay. But things turn around quickly. So yeah, you're right. I wouldn't bet the game under. There's no way I could bet it under, but I could look at Ottawa here to pull maybe a surprise, but the price is just so low now. Plus $1.40. It's out of the range that I think it should be. So I'm just going to pass on this one.
That's pretty much market wide right now. The best number I see is plus 143. So it's not like it's even better elsewhere. Again, this was a big hitter through the night. It opened plus 60 on the dog, got as high as plus 70. There's been one-way traffic here this morning after getting the plus 170 around 5 a.m. here at the South Point. Remember, 24-hour book upstairs. So those numbers will move through the night from time to time. Series price, Chris and Company just took a big whack on Ottawa, actually, in the last 10 minutes. It was minus 400 on the Leafs, plus 330 on the Sens on the series price. That's now 3-1 on the Sens. So they obviously either took a lot of action or just took one big whack that finally made Chris and Company move it upstairs on the Sens. You still can get plus 330 at Superbook if you want the best number here in Vegas on Ottawa. I very alarmed with how game one went for the Sens, where they played a very high-end first period. We're still losing the game, and then just got drilled the last 40 minutes. That does worry me with the way this could play out. But, Alex, as you said, this is a team that you've liked for a majority of the year. It just may not be the right matchup here in this all-Ontario matchup.
Well, or, we may see it completely flip when it goes to Ottawa, and it can even out the series then. But then it's going to be a big price, kind of like we were talking about with NBA, but that desperation spot. So I'd rather take a shot here if you're getting a little bit of plus. How much do we want to take in our medians for this? Because you talked about the over is probably going to be a big play here, and looking at both of their medians, 3-3.
Those are regular season numbers too, though. So that's what they were in the regular season. NHL playoffs are usually about a half goal lower from what the regular season shows up as. So, Jeff brings up the point, all Ontario rival. This is a big rivalry. These teams don't like each other. So I can understand, Alex, you feel the Senators are a very quality team, and getting blown out 6-3 is a blowout. It's a blowout. It's an embarrassment to your biggest rival. You just got destroyed. You're going to see a focused, I think maybe even taking a look at Ottawa in the first period might be a good bet tonight.
Well, and 3 of their goals, Maple Leafs, were power play goals. So, that is going to be a main emphasis right there, is not having these penalties, playing control. They were playing with a lot of emotion, you could tell. So that's one thing right there that could help.
Game 3 tonight in the NHL is game 1 of the All Floridian series. Talk about teams that don't like each other. Panthers and Lightning, game 1 in Tampa tonight. And boy, what a series this is. The defending Cup champions, the team that was, if you just look at pure goal differential, the best team in the Eastern Conference this year. What a matchup this is. These teams have played multiple times in the playoffs the last 5 years. This is the 4th series between them. Alex, this is just heavy duty stuff here in game 1. Lightning are $1.15 at home, so the slightest of favorites, 5.5. The total on this one, series price, Panthers are actually favored here at the South Point, minus 120, even money on Tampa. That's pretty much in line with the whole market. There's one book that has a pick both sides. What a series this is to kick off the final of the 8th here with a game 1.
It's really just incredible that one of these two teams have represented the East the last 5 years.
Yep, that too.
And we got Tampa Bay 2020 to 2022, and then Florida the last 2 years trying to tie it up there with 3 in a row. And ESPN did a really good job. There's a great article between these two, and it is just so dead even. And also they broke it down since the break. These two goalies, Vasilevsky, 189 goals against average and a 927 save percentage. Bobrovsky, 915 goals against average and a 914 save percentage. So two high-end goalies that have both won a cup. These two don't like each other. I think this is going to be a great game between them. I like the home team minus 115. I do think that Tampa is the better team this year, and they've been the more consistent one. So I think that's a good price there at minus 115.
Love when you got a rivalry and two great goaltenders going, and they're both are hot right now. But the defenses for both teams are tremendous. The reason why these teams they've been such powerhouses in the Eastern Conference has been their goaltending and their defense over that period of time. So I like it under. I think it's going to be a 1-1 game going to the third, and it's just going to be a really physical hockey game. You see the hits. The hits in these games now are almost double through the second period as what they would normally be in the regular season. Teams get 15 hits during a game in the regular season. There's 30 by the time you're at the end of the second period. There's 40 by the end of the game. It's just such more physical hockey. There's more block shots by players. If the game gets out of hand and one team gets way up, then the games go crazy. I don't see this game getting out of hand. I see it a tight hockey game throughout. So I like it under.
I like Tampa in this series. That's where I'm just going to start. Home ice, I believe, will matter here. And the other point, too, that I just have brought up on a few occasions, and look, it could end up being very wrong, but I am concerned, and I know Tampa themselves made 3 straight Cup finals a few years ago, but I am concerned with Florida, who, again, I thought those Tampa teams that won the back-to-back Cups and then lost to Colorado were a little bit better constructed than this Florida team. Now, granted, this team was in the final 2 years ago, won it last year. They're an amazing hockey team. But the way they play they scare me of how much is left in the tank for a third deep playoff run. And maybe it doesn't impact them in this round. It might impact them next round against the winner of the Battle of Ontario, or it can impact them in the East Final. But when it's all said and done, I just think Tampa's the better hockey team this year. And they have home ice. I like the Lightning in this series. If you can get at even money, which is readily available, I would very happily take that on the Lightning to win this series. And I'll steer clear of game one. I'm just going to watch and see what happens between these two high-end teams.
The one thing that does concern me is Florida was dealing with a lot of injuries. And we know like Matthew Tkachuk, and they've had so much time to rest now before coming into this series. So I think that they'll be pretty much at full strength and definitely going to get their best effort. So that is why we're seeing this number here. It's a pick'em game, pick'em series.
One more in hockey tonight, and it's just down the road from us here in Las Vegas. The Golden Knights with a 1-0 lead after a 4-2 win in game one. Every tenth of a second matters. The Knights minus 230 here in game two, plus 195 on the Wild. Total of 5.5. Again, the goal with a tenth of a second left pushed the game one over and gave the Knights a puck line cover as well. VGK is a $6 favorite now in the series, just for throwing that out there in the ether, Alex.
Nothing for me in this one. If I were to play, I'd probably look to VGK and the puck line here, getting that plus 115. If you look at that first game, and you were talking about hits and playoffs, and I mean, Minnesota, they 54 hits for them to 29 for the Knights. They were all in and still really struggled. I think it's just a bad matchup for them. And then the power play goals really helped Vegas as well. I mean, scored within like 5 seconds of one of those. So I think it's a bad matchup. I think Vegas was even off their game in that first one and still found a way to win. So that's the only way I'd look here, and especially with that home ice there.
That was a really tough game. Minnesota played really well. You mentioned the power play goals, for Toronto and them beating the Sens. The same thing was here. That you also just mentioned the power play, and 5 seconds into the power play goal, it just happened so fast. I watched the game. What I was watching on TV, Minnesota was just as good as the Golden Knights that night, and they lose 4-2. I think they're going to give a great effort here. I mean, I think such a big price on the dog. And I'm waiting for hockey dogs to start barking, because they do. There's so many upsets of any sport in the playoffs, there's more upsets in hockey than there is any other sport. Because it's a goalie. It's a goalie thing. And goalies get hot. My friend Brian Blessing, God bless him, used to say, when they stand on their head, a goalie standing on his head, anybody can beat anybody in the sport. So I thought Gustafsson played an amazing game in game one, and I think he could do the same thing in game two. So I hate betting against Golden Knights or my team, so I'm not going to bet it. But if you are, I think the only way to bet this game is to bet the Wild here.
So again, the series matchup we've seen in the past in the postseason. Of course, they've played multiple high-end postseason series, including a few years ago. But this is, I just think in the end, this is actually it just moved minus 240 on the Knights, now 2-1 on the Wild here. So it's some VGK money as we speak here at the South Point here on game number 2. But again, I think VGK is just a lot better. And we talked about the West just being able to get a little bit of an easier trek to the finals. May not be easier in the end, but boy, the fact that Winnipeg is probably going to have to play Colorado, kind of whatever you feel like at this point. Do you think the Kings or Edmonton's easier than a Colorado matchup? Probably not. But again, we'll see how it all plays out. Okay, we know, again, Winnipeg went up 2-0 with a win yesterday over St. Louis and is in complete command in that series. All right. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to go to the NBA. We got 3 games in the NBA. Also, speaking of basketball, Ryan, the trivia question is in the bottom. It will be after the break. So the trivia question will be in the bottom. It is a basketball-related question here today as we roll along on a Tuesday. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio, NBA playoffs up next.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
We're back in. It's Sports by the Book here at the South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White alongside. Thrilled to be with you as always. Before we get to the NBA, Alex, checking in with the chat here on a Tuesday morning.
Dean Hilt did give me a thank you for the underpick in the Clippers game. Hopefully that's the one bet that you did make. I had a push, and my hockey was the opposite yesterday, but that one did come through for me. Attila, Vegas Sports himself, will be at the VGK in Minnesota game tonight, so enjoy that. He's probably looking for a bet from us. Is that well, now we're on opposite sides. We might have to dive into that hockey game a little bit more there. Maybe Minnesota early first period.
Yeah, no, I said, I like the Sens in the first. Yeah, I could see that.
Or maybe it's just going to enjoy. So
I don't know. I mean, you could also create your own bet. There's plenty of ways to.
That's right.
To go. You don't have to. You have to. We love that you're listening to us, but hey, you can fade us if you want. We won't be offended. You can go with something else if you like something like whatever. We're just here to guide. We're not here to say you must play these. No, that's not why we're here. All right, let's move along to the NBA. Let's start in Indianapolis, where the big news in this one is that Damian Lillard will be back for the Milwaukee Bucks. No, Lillard's been there for multiple years, but that's still a strange sentence to say, Damian Lillard, Milwaukee Bucks. Regardless, he's back tonight after missing about 6 weeks with a blood clot in his calf. So this number's gone down 2.5 points from what some openers were, 6.5 to 4. It's kind of rumbling that Lillard was going to be back. A lot of people thought it was going to be game 3, but it ends up being tonight. 228 the total. How much can we expect out of Lillard tonight? That's really the big question, more so than anything here, Alex.
Yeah, I really don't know what to expect here. And that was a brutal game for the Bucks. It was really all on Giannis, and Indiana scored so easily inside. They had 62% from twos, and the Bucks only forced 5 turnovers in that game. So my concern is, yes, they can bring Dame in, and he can help with the three, because Milwaukee only shot 24% from three compared to the Pacers' 38. So that'll help, but he's not really going to help defensively, and that is where they really struggled and where they really need the help. So crazy movers here. This game has probably been the biggest mover, but especially to the over. So we're almost getting to a point, if we can get to 230 or so, that we might be able to jump in and take an under here for a playoff NBA game that has just been all over money.
It's been out some time now. When did he leave? March 18th?
So, yeah, a little about 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's not too bad, but at 34 years old, it's a little different story than a guy that's 26 or 27 years old. So in game one, he's going to be driving 45 on the freeway, I feel like, and everyone's going to be going up and down. I don't know if he's going to be that big of a difference maker in game one. Game two, his return of coming back, the second game, him being back, I think he'll be a lot better, have a little bit better wind, and his step will get a little bit quicker. So I like the move from 6 down to 4, but we've missed it. I think that would have been the play in this game. So I'm going to pass, just the fact not knowing. I say that Milwaukee getting 6 would have been the play. And I still think 4 is a little high, but again, if Dame's not 100%, which we know he's not going to be, I think the number's about right. I'll have to look at the total too, Alex, because like you said, he's not going to bring much defense back into this game, but I don't know how much offense he brings back either.
I have no idea what to do with this. And you guys just reiterated the points that how I feel here. We don't know how long he's going to be able to play. We don't know how effective he's going to be. Go to Lillard, who is a guy who we know is a big game player in the past. Obviously, his time in Portland shows that. Maybe out of nowhere has a 35-point night, and Milwaukee steals game 2, and this is a totally different series. By the way, Bucks are a $2 underdog in this series now, a 30-cent move once Lillard was announced officially in earlier this morning on that series price. I still like Indy to win the series even with Lillard back. I just think the Pacers are the better basketball team, and Giannis is really basically playing one-man band right now. Boy, that Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton trade was so bad. Kuzma, who did a quintuple zero the other day, which is usually reserved just for Tony Snell, but very difficult to say the very least for Kyle Kuzma, who has not played particularly well since coming over to Milwaukee. All right, 1 seed in action. We'll go to Oklahoma City next. Thunder, Grizzlies. Thunder won game 1 by 51, 131-80, and quite frankly, it wasn't even as competitive as the final score indicated. Now, game 2, Thunder, 14.5, 230 your total. Now, I'm just curious here with just such an embarrassing output from the Grizzlies, and quite frankly, we probably should have seen it coming. The Grizzlies played the late night game on Friday, and then the league made them play the early game on Sunday. I know Memphis to Oklahoma City is basically a puddle jumper flight, but it's still a brutal turnaround to play a win or go home game and then flip around and play on the road at the best team in the NBA. And it was every bit as bad as that 51-point margin showed. 14.5, 230. Do we have the stomach to take the Grizzlies, getting almost 15 in a bounce back scenario where they were epically embarrassed in game 1, Kenny?
Small play for me. I'm taking the points with Memphis here because of that embarrassment factor. I watched a lot of that game. Every single thing that could go right for Oklahoma City did, and everything that could go wrong for Memphis did. You throw it out. If Memphis wins tonight by 1, they'll have a scoring differential of -50, but yet it'll be 1-1 going back to Memphis. It doesn't matter if you win by 1 or if you win by 51. You just have to win the game. So I think this could be another one that I take Memphis in the first quarter too, because they're going to come out and play better. They're going to play much better. I mean, the game that I watched them play, and Oklahoma City is the way better basketball team, though. So that's a factor. And the later in the game you get, Oklahoma City is going to, impose their will on them once again and probably beat them up pretty good. But Memphis, I think, will stay in this game for a little while. So I think in first quarter, maybe even first half for Memphis might be a good play.
Yeah, I think that would be the way, right? Because Jeff mentioned it. I mean, they had tired legs on offense and defense, and it was very, very evident that they were just exhausted from their two playing games to get to that spot. They shot terrible from three, 18%, 6 of 34. That was really a huge difference maker because, of course, Oklahoma City had 51 points from 3 points. So it's tough, but I would look at first quarter, first half with that embarrassment factor. The book's telling you South Point has up totals right here. Grizzly total points in the game 107. They were held to 80 in that first game. That feels like a pretty big swing there. So even if you think they're going to be competitive, I mean, is that a safe under there?
I bet the first game over because I like these two teams and their tempo. I didn't get there, but because I knew I wasn't going to get there because Memphis just couldn't do anything right. Normally, you'd see a team down 30 at halftime. They're going to make a little bit of a comeback and lose by 20, but they lost the second half by 21, and they just weren't there. Completely different coaching philosophy now. You let your guys have it for how bad they represented Memphis, and Oklahoma City might have a little bit of big head, but again, there is a huge talent discrepancy between these two teams. So I'm only playing because of the embarrassment factor, and right now I'm only going to play it first quarter and first half.
Again, Thunder pretty clearly the best team, at least in the Western Conference. Again, we've been splitting hairs with them in Boston all year long. So again, it's all checks out. But that was 51 points in a playoff game is pretty epic anyway you slice it for Oklahoma City. All right, last one up. Timberwolves. They took game one in Los Angeles. They were the only underdog to win game one until last night. They were the only underdog to win, period, in the NBA playoffs. Pistons, of course, won as a dog last night. Now, we look at this game here tonight. Lakers, 5.5-point favorites at home, 210.5. Alex, I'm just a little bit concerned more so than anything. This just might not be a great matchup for the Lakers. Now, could have just have been a bad game one. Yeah, we've seen that, of course. Again, first playoff game for Luka and LeBron together, so still little things to work out. But I think everyone going into the series kind of forgot. Just this Minnesota team's really good. They just had a wayward offseason. They were able to sneak into the 6th seed, which seemingly is a harder matchup, but this is a really good Minnesota Timberwolves team that was in the Western Conference Final a year ago.
Right, and then just ran it kind of out of gas and ran into a tough Dallas team. So I agree with you. I do think that this Anthony Edwards-led team is very good, and I'm concerned with the Lakers' defense because 87 possessions in this game, and you like to look at that a lot, and the Lakers allowed 117 points. So slower-paced game and still not there defensively. Minnesota won three-pointers, three-point shooting percentage, rebounds, and turnovers. So the Lakers really only had the edge with free throws there. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. Seems like a lot of people liked the Lakers in game one and now are completely flipping, but I don't know. I think that 5.5 is pretty tempting. Even if the Lakers do win this game two at home, I think Minnesota will keep it close.
Yeah, the side's tough. You can't go down 0-2 at home.
Well, you got a 4-game sweep if that happens.
Yeah, you got Luka and LeBron. So they're supposed to win the game, but there's no way I could lay it. I agree with you guys. Minnesota's defense has just been so good. That's the main thing that they've, I think, improved on from last year and this year. So I bet game one under was an easy under. I'm betting game two under. I'm going under 210.5. Lakers need to play better defense. That's for sure. So. The Dallas Mavericks traded Luka away. They said it was because he was out of shape, but they also said it was because defense wins championships. So maybe the Lakers will take that to heart a little bit and they'll step their defense up.
Well, now the GM, Nico, he did come out and say that maybe he wasn't aware how much Dallas's fans were attached to Luka.
How could he not?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we could do a whole hour on Nico Harrison and his bumbling press conference yesterday if we wanted to, but I think our audience would be a little more confused than any. But yes, that was befuddling, to put it politely, yesterday from Harrison, who is pretty well proven that he should not be running an NBA franchise at this point. But regardless, I've already said too much. All right, you know what?
So under for you in that one. I took the under over the weekend as well, so I might have to stay there, even though it has moved down a little.
I have one other question for numbers wise, guys, and if you've said this in the past, I apologize, but you always mention teams avoiding a sweep in a regular season baseball series.
Yeah.
What do you do with a home team that lost game one in a playoff scenario, whether it be baseball, forget baseball, whether it be basketball or hockey right now, with a home team losing game one? Do you add to that, especially when they are power rated as the better team like the Lakers are?
The NBA has been such a zigzag theory forever.
Yes.
Forever. I mean, this isn't something that just started now. I was playing the zigzag theory in the 80s because that's the way the NBA playoffs are built. One team wins and they get a big head, and you lost, your season's on the line. You show more intensity. So I give 2.5 points for road teams after they lose the first game. I give 3.5 points for the home team, because it's just much bigger game. But I only made this game 3. I add the 3.5 on, I make it 6.5. So it's a slight lean from me. I still have to have a 2.5 point difference to make the bet. So after adjusting for that, Jeff, losing at home in a playoff game, I think it's worth 3.5 points. And that's, kind of survey that I took over the years of the difference from the line. Like tonight's line, and it could be built in a little bit already too, that it's, the bookmakers, the odds makers, and people who put the first number up and the first bets that came in. So it's kind of built into the line just a little bit, not the entire 3.5 points are built into the line, but just a little bit. So I think 6.5 is the right number in the game, but not big enough to have a difference. My total 202.5. I do have a difference there still, even though it has gone down. Alex mentioned we're not getting the best of the number on that total because there were 215.5s out, which was way too high. But still, I think there's value going under 210.5.
All right, let's take one more break. When we get back, we go to baseball here on a Tuesday morning, right here, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. Jeff Parles, Alex White, Kenny White, all here. We're in our own little boxes right now, even though we're only about a few feet away from each other right now. All right, let's get to baseball here. 15 games, and we begin in Miami. The Marlins and the Reds. Yesterday, Nick Lodolo just shy of 6 innings, but he was not the story. It was Max Meyer, who was unbelievable yesterday. But boy, if you had the under yesterday, that was just a brutal one. where it landed 9 in a game that looked like it was going to basically be 3-0 the whole way through. Meyer struck out 14 in 6 innings, which he just continues to pitch great to begin the season for the Marlins. Fish, trying to make it 3 in a row after their win on Sunday and the win yesterday, are a slight underdog at home. It's -10 on the Reds with Martinez, -105 on Cabrera, and the Miami Marlins with a total of 8.5 here, Alex.
Hopefully, if anybody watched us, they took first 5 under because that was my lean.
That was a winner.
Rather than, going for that full game here. But nothing for me in this one. I do like Martinez, but I do think that number, well, we're right here at a pick'em. So I think that number is correct here. Maybe a lean to the under. I am a little bit worried about Cabrera on the other side, though. So nothing for me in this one.
Yeah, Cabrera's command scares me. Just not a big-time strike thrower. And Martinez at 34, not off to a good start. So neither one of these guys have pitched well. So inconsistency. Both teams have been below average offensively as well. So just, I guess, I don't know how the ballpark plays today. But I think the numbers are about right. I'm just going to pass that game.
Moving along, Mets and Phillies. Mets take game 1, 5-4. Got interesting in the 9th inning. That was another one. If you had Mets run line, that was a pretty brutal one, up 5-0 to the 9th. Phillies get 4 and lose 5-4. Yep. Lindor, 2 homers for New York yesterday as he continues his hot ways over the last 10 days. Phils tonight will send Christopher Sanchez to the mound, who he has been awesome to begin the season, the left-hander for the Phils, and Griffin Canning, who's pitched well for New York as well, gets the ball here. Total of 8. Phillies -25 on the road at Citi Field tonight, Alex.
Yeah, really, just looking at their last 2 outings, Sanchez struck out 12 against the Giants, allowing just 3 runs, 2 earned on 4 hits, just 1 walk over 7 innings. So coming off a fantastic game there against San Francisco. And then Canning picked up the win as well against the Cardinals, allowing just 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 6 innings. So I wish I could go under here. If anything, I guess it would have to be the first 5, but numbers don't really say that. And the Phillies overstreak continues after they did get those 4, barely. We were looking at it just at home, but did get there yesterday. So I really think these numbers are pretty close. I mean, maybe you find some value there on the home team getting +110.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm leaning, Alex, is the home team, but I hate to go against Sanchez. I've got him rated one of the top pitchers of the day. I think I do. He's the highest rated pitcher I have today, but I may have him rated too low even. Maybe he's a little underrated. I talked last week about Griffin Canning, that I really like his stuff. I watched him in the Angels, and I thought this kid's going to be a really good pitcher. But he was in a bad organization. He pitched a masterpiece last time out. 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, walked 2, struck out 8. And I think that's, you're not going to get that out of him every game, but this guy's got good stuff. And I think he's going to have a good year with the Mets. I might take a look at maybe grabbing a 1.5 with the Mets in this one. At home, getting a 1.5.
Okay, $1.50 on that. If you want to take the 1.5, you're laying $1.50 with New York. All right, we go to Atlanta next. The Braves have seemingly figured it out over the last few days, which we have been waiting. We've been waiting for it. Braves sweep Minnesota over the weekend. They take the first last night in a really wild last 2 innings. A 5 spot in the bottom of the 8th by Atlanta to go up 7-3, and then they needed to hold on and win 7-6 last night. Braves are going with a bullpen game today. They're $1.40 favorites in this one. Palante goes for St. Louis. Cardinals have lost 5 in a row with getting swept in New York and then losing the first one here in Atlanta. Total is 9 here at the South Point. There is some 8.5 out there as well.
I passed on the Cardinals yesterday. It was a lean there with Fedde against Schwellenbach. But now I think that this is the game that you jump in with the Cardinals and take that plus money here. No Strider. It's a shame. Now he's on the IR for a hammy. So the Braves might take a little bit more time to get in full form and get their whole team here. But I like Palante, even though he did take the loss against the Mets, but that's a good offense there. It really just all came in one inning as well. So I think that that's the correct side here, taking that plus money with the Cardinals.
Those streaks take me off the game. The Cardinals losing 5 in a row, Braves winning 4 in a row. The teams are going in opposite directions at this short time. So I'm going to make the adjustment. I think the Braves should be about $1.30 favorite. So no play for me. I'm just going to pass that one.
Next up, we go to the Dodgers and the Cubs. This is already the third series these teams have played against each other. Of course, they've played the 2 in Tokyo. This is actually the second portion of that home series for the Cubs now. Of course, they played in L.A. Cubs took 2 out of 3 2 weekends ago. It's Imanaga. It's Dustin May. Dodgers, road favorites, $1.20. It's going to be very rare that you get a price at home with Shota Imanaga, Alex, with a total of 8.5 for this one today.
Kind of using a Dwayne Colucci line here too, but it's going to be very rare that you get -120 with the Dodgers as
true.
well. And this is the full Dodgers lineup finally. I mean, they have been dealing with injuries and players in and out of this lineup, and now I think everybody should be going because they've already seen Imanaga. I think that I lean to the Dodgers here. I was pretty surprised looking at his strikeout per 9 and walk per 9. So just 6.67 strikeouts per 9 innings and 3.18 walks per 9. Again, second time most of these guys are seeing him. I'm going to go with Tommy Edman too. Plus 425 is my home run pick of the day. He has 2 off of Imanaga. And then it's a lean to the Dodgers there at that small price.
What a great pitcher's duel, I think. We do have great hitting. This is the best hitting game of the day and maybe the best pitching game of the day. So Wrigley Field wins going to be out to left center field tonight, 5-10. And at Wrigley, it's usually the higher number, so about 10 miles an hour. That could help a little bit. But I think they could get off to a slow start. I'm going to wait to bet this game in game. And if it's, hopefully 1-1 in the fourth, that's where I'd want. I want the shutouts broken. And then I want a little bit of a low scoring game. I'll bet it over then because I think these offenses will get going later in the game.
Yep.
This is just one of these these are 2 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. We know the Dodgers are going to be there. I from what I've seen from the Cubs so far this year, they look every bit as good as I thought they were going to be. Their lineup is spectacular. Kyle Tucker's off to a great start. It's just a matter for them just getting enough pitching. By the way, Carson Kelly's been the best hitting catcher in baseball so far this year, as we all expected going into the year. What a good turnaround for Kelly, who was kind of bounced around in his career after being a top prospect a few years back. All right, moving along. Giants and Brewers. Again, there's a lot of solid games on this baseball card here today. The Giants, who, of course, up to this really good 15-8 start, 5-2 winners yesterday. Game managed to slide under that 7.5. 7.5 again here tonight. -135 on Jordan Hicks for the Giants, and Jose Quintana's +120 for the Milwaukee Brewers here tonight, Kenny.
Yeah, this is a good pitching matchup, I think. Quintana, a crafty lefty that still is going to be a guy that can give you innings and keep your team in the game. And Hicks, he's been a little inconsistent, I think, so far as 4 starts. Let me look at his 4 starts. First game was outstanding, had that adrenaline flowing, 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs. And then since then has been really bad. Three bad starts in a row. So I may have to lean a little bit here towards the Brewers, looking at that, how Hicks has pitched lately. He has just been horrible is the word I guess I should be using in his numbers. He's allowed 15 earned runs in his last 16 1/3 innings, 8 walks, just 13 strikeouts. So I think Quintana's pitched much better. I'll take the shot with the Brewers here in this one.
What time is this game? This is a later game, right?
Yeah, this is going to be a 6:45 Pacific start time.
Because with you saying that about Hicks, I also think the Giants could get to Quintana. They've been pretty good against lefties, but the number right there at 7.5 feels right. But I'd lean to the over.
7.5. Wind is slightly blowing out to left, but it is also going to be 56 degrees at first pitch in Oracle here tonight. All right, going to Cleveland next. Yankees, Guardians. Guardians take game 1 of that series in the Rock and Roll City. It's Warren for the Yanks. It's Bybee for the Guardians here tonight. Cleveland, a nice little stabilization here where it looked a little dicey earlier in the year. They're 13-9, right on the heels of the Detroit Tigers. Total 8.5 here tonight in Cleveland. Weather looking pretty normal, all things considered, for this one here tonight, Alex.
Cleveland looks like the exact same team as last year, and they're pretty much in the exact same spot, right? We'll see if they sneak into the playoffs, but I would look at the Yankees here in this one. I think Will Warner's been very good for them. Even though his numbers don't necessarily show it, I do think he is the better pitcher between these two. Tanner Bybee is just having a slow start. We kind of were talking about him off air before starting. He's a better pitcher than what we have seen thus far, but it's really been the home runs. He's given up 7 already this year compared to 22 in all of 2024. So I was also contemplating looking at some Yankees hitters for our home run props. I think Ryan might actually have pinpointed one of them. Bellinger. Okay, so yeah, going for a lefty there. But I think the Yankees is the right side. Would you agree?
Yeah, Bybee's was good, was horrible, was really good, and then horrible again. So he's kind of been up and back and forth. Maybe he does pitch a little better game here, but he's up against one of the best offenses in baseball. And looking at my numbers, I lean to the Yankees here, but with a 4-game winning streak by the Guardians, I'm going to pass. The total, I lean to the under, but I surely don't like that in this game tonight. So this game's really just a pass for me on all around.
Going to Boston next, Red Sox. Welcome the Mariners. Mariners playing better baseball as well. Got it back to 2 games over 500 and a game behind the Texas Rangers in the early goings in the AL West. Red Sox also 2 games over 500 after their 3 out of 4 over the weekend against the White Sox. Bayo and Miller, your pitching matchup here tonight. The Sox, $1.25 at Fenway here tonight with a total of 9 in this one, Alex.
I think that 9 is right, too. Almost even lean to the over here. You brought up both of these teams playing much better, and looking at their numbers in the last 7 for their offense. I mean, the Mariners, WRC plus 143 and Red Sox 126. This is Bayo's first game of the season, so you can't expect him to be in mid-season form. Maybe we'll get a few extra hits in this one, but lean to the over. It's already pretty high at 9 there, so I'm just going to stay off of this one.
Yeah, you're right about Bello. Well, you don't expect a ton from me. He had a nice year last year for the Red Sox, but first outing against a big league team, a little bit of pressure tonight. Weather-wise, high 60s, low 70s, wind blowing left to right, not really going to be a big factor here. I leaned to the over and was, hoping to have a good reason to bet this over. I want to look and see what Brian Bello did. I'm sure he pitched a couple games. He pitched 4 games. Had 4 starts in the minors so far this year. So you may get a little bit more out of him than we think. Didn't pitch great up and down, but I guess I'd lean to the over, but nothing really strong.
First start of the year for Bayo. I was on the IL the first month with the shoulder discomfort, but back here tonight. All right, we go to Minneapolis next. Twins and White Sox. Record-wise, it's the 2 worst teams in the American League, but the White Sox, as we know, in their own category of ugliness, even though, again, 5-17 would actually put them right on pace for what they did a year ago. Still was historically bad. Minus 250 tonight on Bailey Ober. Martin for the White Sox, a plus 210, total 8.5 on this one at Target Field, Alex.
It's a big price here for the Twins, especially when their offense hasn't been doing much. And then the last 7 White Sox have really, really struggled offensively, 69 WRC plus. Nothing for me in this one. I mean, I think that number's too big, minus 250 for the Twins at home, but I'm not jumping in it with Chicago here.
Yeah, it's the White Sox. The Twins 3-game losing streak, and they're still 250 favorites. So weather tonight, Minneapolis, low 60s, I believe. So a little chilly. I may lean to the under for that fact that maybe a little chilly there tonight. So, but nothing big. And I like the way Ober's pitched the last couple of games. Again, I like what I saw out of him last year. Thought he was going to be good this year. Had a horrible opening start, but he has been a little bit better his last 2 starts.
Going to Houston next, Stros and Blue Jays. Blanco and Bassett here tonight. Yesterday, 7-0 routine victory for the Stros behind what was as good of a start as we've seen from Hunter Brown in a while. Now here you are tonight. Jays slight favorite on the road, -115, total of 8.5. Bassett has pitched very well to begin the season for the Jays.
Yes, he has. And on the other side, Ronel Blanco has definitely come back down from his good year last year. Looking at his median numbers on the year, 3.3 for earned runs and walks, just 6 strikeouts. Bassett on the other side, though, 7 strikeouts to just 1 walk. So I definitely think you have the pitching advantage going there with the Blue Jays. Again, though, I'm always nervous to bet against the Astros. I just never know what we're going to get from them offensively. It's a very wide range.
Yeah, you mentioned Blanco, the year that he had last year. He was very, very lucky. He's one of those guys that you are going to just jump on and bet against next year because those type of luck factors don't continue to happen. The batting average balls in play and the left on base numbers were ridiculous for Blanco, and it turned around really quick on him already this year. A 1.68 whip. Bassett, a guy that's, he's gonna come back to earth a little bit. He has been just Cy Young Award numbers putting up early in the season. So this game I might look to lean a little bit to the over here. Two teams that still have some powerful bats that can put a big number on the board in a couple innings. So that's all you really need is a couple of big innings by both these teams.
Looking for the do factor for their offenses.
Kind of both, yeah.
Going to Sacramento next, and it's Patrick Corbin in Sacramento. But Patrick Corbin, who I don't know if you saw this story, was bit on the foot by a venomous spider, and then pitched his best game maybe in 4 years. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's real life Peter Parker. Maybe we get something crazy like that where Patrick Corbin turns into Spider-Man all of a sudden. But in reality, though, was a good start for Corbin his last time out. Now he goes to a ballpark that has played as a monster over park in its early goings in the first year of 3 years is being utilized as a major league park in Sacramento. Beto goes for the A's. It's -125, +110, 10.5 on this total, which I think even more than the ballpark has to do with the pitchers going tonight here, Alex, but also the A's with a big call-up as well here tonight.
Yes, that's right. Nick Kurtz, it was announced yesterday that he would be called up, and we've been following him. I wanted to check what his home run or maybe even some of his props were if they have it up. I forgot to do that, so I'm going to look. You bring up a good point, though, at this ballpark because, I mean, there's some really good pitchers. I remember I was talking about Dylan Cease and some other guys that really got hit good here at this ballpark. So I don't think that is the best spot here for Patrick Corbin, but we've also talked about him having a really good team behind him now, finally. So I do think that this number is right around the correct number. Maybe Athletics a little bit lean here. I think -125 is a pretty good price.
Yeah, my numbers are right on. Beto, another got a little bit lucky last year. It's been consistently good, though, in all of his outings so far for the Athletics. So I made him $1.30. The total I made 10, and it's pretty much right there. But a lot of money, as Jeff said, for the over in this game. I didn't look at the weather in Sacramento tonight, but it has been very favorable in almost every game so far played. That it's been a little seasonably warm, and the wind's been blowing out. Especially the first couple games, wind was blowing out pretty heavy. I'm looking at right now.
So I got you right here if you wanted, Kenny.
Blowing out again.
Yeah, blowing out left center, 80 degrees at first pitch. So reasonable hitting conditions yet again for everybody.
No, I don't know if it'll be 80. If it was 80, I'm betting it on.
Yeah, by the end of
73 degrees, I think, at first pitch, but it's going to be blowing out to left center at 5 to 15 miles an hour.
So I did not find Nick Kurtz, but can we figure out why Soderstrom is still +550?
Regression to the mean?
I don't know.
I mean, more so than anything. Soderstrom was having a monster year to begin the year, leading the American League in homers to begin the season, already up to 9, and it's April 22nd. Well, again, also the season did also start a little bit earlier, but still a month in and 9 homers, big start for Soderstrom. All right, let's go to some interleague ball. Tigers took game 1 from San Diego. We talked about it yesterday. Padres traveling after playing on the road in Sunday Night Baseball. Bad spot. Tigers took advantage, win that game 1. Tonight, Jack Flaherty, Nick Pivetta, solid pitching matchup at Comerican. Total 7.5. Tigers -20 at home, plus 105 on the Pods.
Man, I mean, it would have to just be looking at that first half under because this is a very good pitching matchup here between Pivetta and Flaherty. Looking at their numbers, Pivetta 24 strikeouts to 5 walks on the season and 23 innings pitched, and Jack Flaherty 21 and 1/3, 25-9. So, yeah, I like the pitching matchup. Maybe something like you were talking about with the Yankees. Was it the Yankees? Yes, with waiting and then getting a better in game because I do think that they can. These both offenses can score later on.
No, the Cubs, I think it was the Dodgers-Cubs. Yeah, because you got such good pitching, but 2 great offenses, and they could get going here in that game. You got 2 really good pitchers in this matchup, and you're right. I guess you could wait a little bit, but I think the better bet might be looking at that first 5 innings under with both these pitchers because you mentioned their splits on the walk strikeouts. Both are very, very good. Both guys have just, they've started the year well. It's no fluke. Both guys got really good stuff and both offenses, these 2 teams, not the greatest, not the worst, but this pitching I think will be better than the hitting in this game.
And their median earned run. 0 for Pivetta and 1 for Flaherty.
For Pivetta, again, I like that signing for Pivetta going out to San Diego. Pure Pitchers Park has pitched well, actually, and other than, Boston, as we know, big-time hitters park, pitched in Philadelphia. Good pitcher. I think I actually like the under in this game, but I would look for a 4 first 5 at the best juice possible, which is -120. So that would be the way I'd look to play it here tonight. All right, Beltway battle in D.C. Baltimore goes down I-95 to the nation's capital to take on the Nats. It's Kramer and Parker tonight. Orioles, this is their first game after what was a demolition derby at Camden Yards on Sunday. They only lost 24-2. It was competitive, right? -135 on Kramer tonight, total of 9 in this one, Alex.
The only thing I could do here is look to fade Baltimore, and they have just struggled against lefties, and they have faced some of the best lefties in the league, but right now they're 29th in batting average, 191, and they're 29th in on-base plus slugging at 512, so 28th in on-base percentage. So I just think that they've struggled seeing lefties this year, so it would be a lean to the Nationals here at plus 120, but no strong feel. Not really jumping to bet the Nationals either.
Yeah, my numbers are right there. I guess you could look at that as, embarrassment factor of losing 24-2 in a baseball game. No home edge, obviously, with, short travel and this time of year. But again, as you mentioned, struggling versus lefties. My numbers are right there. I'm trying to make something out of nothing. I'm just going to pass, Jeff.
Going to the next one then, Rockies and Royals. Boy, the Rockies are just a special level of bad to begin this season. They'll take on Kansas City in Kauffman Stadium tonight. Rockies are 4-17. Royals off to a brutal start as well, 9-14. It's Bubic and Feltner here tonight. -240 on Kansas City feels super, super steep, but this is the Colorado Rockies on the other side with a total of 8, Alex.
I don't know. This Royals team has just not been impressive at all. And if you look at their offensive numbers in the last 7, they are really bad. OBP 274, slugging 286, and WRC plus is just 60. So they've actually been worse offensively than the Rockies. I've got nothing, though. I guess I would lean to Colorado here.
Kenny, this is Kansas City breaking a 6-game losing streak in their last time out as well. They had a 1-6 road trip. Let me actually extrapolate that out even further. They had a 2-8 road trip to Cleveland, New York, and Detroit. So 3 playoff teams a year ago. Kansas City did not match up well at all in those 10 games.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm just amazed the start that the Rockies are off to, that the White Sox are actually playing better baseball than they are. So hate to bet on bad teams, but this price is just so big. I like Feltner. I think he's a pretty good pitcher. I think he's got, decent enough stuff to keep Kansas City down here in this one, or at least keep his team in the game. I've got a better offensive rating for the Rockies than I do the Royals. So I'll take the big price. Give me that big price. I'm just basically betting against one bad team against another really bad team.
Before I jump in and
please.
defend the Rockies, how many division games have they actually played? Because I was going to say, I mean, that's going to be part of it, right? They're in the toughest division, but I don't even know if they've had how many times they've
it's only
seen.
6 in the division.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably going to get worse, unfortunately, for Colorado. Fun with numbers with the Rockies, and it's not really fun with numbers, and Ryan will throw it on the screen. Colorado's already 11 games out of the division lead, and forget that. They're already 8.5 out of 4th place. It's April 22nd. It's going to be a long year in Denver for the Rockies, who, again, we expected them to be bad, but I think this is a special level of bad to begin the regular season. Speaking of another team that's been bad, the Pirates, who have the second worst record in the National League, go to Anaheim. Angels have played well. We've talked about this. Angels have been a nice little surprise to begin the year. Right now, right in that mix in the AL West. And one of your favorites goes tonight, Alex, for the Angels. Soriano will start for LA, minus 190 against Bailey Falter, plus 170 on the takeback for the Pirates with a total of 8.5 there at Angel Stadium tonight.
I do like Soriano. It kind of come back down. I mean, looking at a strikeout to walk ratio, just 20-10. I think you always told me 3-1, right, is what we're looking for there. But that's in his 25 2/3 innings pitched. I lean that way. I think he is the better pitcher than Bailey Falter. But then again, Falter, just the lefty, could kind of give the Angels lineup a little trouble there. So nothing for me in this one. Even though the Angels had that huge 8th or 9th inning comeback, really their offense has come back down.
Yeah, their offense has been one of the weakest in baseball over the last week. 178 batting average, a 40 weighted runs created plus. Both teams have been really bad. My numbers, what's this total? Yeah, I made it under 7.5. I like the game under because I do like both starting pitchers. So two bad offenses, still the weather not that great in California, Southern California. So again, at nighttime, it is a pitcher's park. Give me under the 8.5, and I'll probably go under the first 5 as well.
Last one on the baseball card today, Littell and Fott, your pitching matchup in Phoenix. Diamondbacks welcome the Rays. Again, that NL West is just going to be so tough. The Diamondbacks are 13-9, and they're in 4th place right now. This is, again, if the Giants are going to be as good as they've shown early, going to be a brutal division and a brutal league at that in the NL. Rays, off to a 9-13 start. Minus 165 on Arizona, plus 150 on a takeback, total of 9 in this one.
I like Fott in this one. I feel like we've seen like a little bit of a resurgence because I don't think he had this good of a year last year. We'll see how long he can keep it up. But coming off a nice outing against the Marlins where he did go across 6. Had 6 strikeouts across 5 2/3 innings, just 5 hits and 1 run. So I think that this is a good matchup for him. Tampa Bay has kind of struggled offensively. Do I want to lay that minus 165? Not really. That's pretty much the right price there. So I'd have to look at the run line with the home team. I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, I like Fott. Last year, I thought he had a really nice year, and he was actually very unlucky. High batting average balls in plays, low left on base numbers, and I thought he should have a much better year than what he actually had. And he's this year he started out to show that those numbers are completely reversed, which they're to the point where he's got to go back the other way a little bit here. Littell's been struggling with Tampa. My number's $1.65 on Arizona. I like them in this spot, but I think the number's just a little bit too high to lay this time of year. Lean to the under in the game. The roof should be closed.
Maybe we can go Tampa Bay team total under.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
3.5 plus 115.
There you
Unless
go.
it moved. Yeah.
I would imagine it's probably still sitting there, or 4.5 juiced under. That would be the two ways potentially for that Tampa Bay team total. All right, let's take a quick break and we get back. Trivia answer and whiteboards to wrap up the show here on a Tuesday morning. Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.
Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Welcome back in Sports by the Book, South Point Studio. We'll have the whiteboards in a few moments from now, but first, trivia question today. We'll see if Kenny knows this, unless, Kenny, did you look at the rundown?
I did not.
Okay, all right.
I promise.
I don't think I ever shared.
Regardless, which key element of NBA games was introduced on this date in 1954?
Which key element?
Which key element of NBA games?
Shot clock.
Very good. Kenny White, right on it. The 24-second shot clock was adopted on this date in the NBA in 1954. And quite frankly, it changed the way basketball is played. Even though college did not adopt the shot clock until much, much later, obviously. And that wasn't until the mid-'80s until college adopted that across the board. But no shot clock violation for Nick today. He beat JR to the window here. So Nick with the win today on the 24.
I was not at that game, Jeff.
I would hope not. No, I would hope not. Yeah.
I was at another game.
At Chamberlain's 100-point game just a few years later, right, Ken?
Yes, that was it.
There we go. Hershey, Pennsylvania, of course, for that one.
He used to run from half court on his free throws and jump from the free throw line on free throws.
Well, Wilt was, well, let's just put it this way, bad free throw shooter, even with that, right, Kenny?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, whiteboards ready to go here on a Tuesday morning. Kenny's going to put his out first. He'll go first here on a Tuesday morning. Kenny, what do we got here today?
Let's go. We'll start with the basketball, the NBA playoffs tonight. Minnesota, the Lakers. Lakers got to pick the defense up. Minnesota's defense will be there tonight. So under 210.5 for me. NHL, another under. Love the rivalry. 2 great goalies, 2 really solid defensive teams. Florida and Tampa under the 5.5. Major League Baseball. 3 plays for you today. The Brewers plus $1.20 in San Francisco. Then 2 5-inning totals. San Diego, Detroit under the 4 -20. And then the Pittsburgh Pirates, Los Angeles Angels under 4.5 plus a nickel on that one.
Plus a nickel. Okay. I also am on that Padres and Tigers under 4 -120. And then I've got some plus prices here. Cardinals, I'm going to go first 5 because we do have a bullpen day. You were a little bit concerned with their losing streak. I'm going to take them to be winning after 5 innings at plus 115. Senators, I'm also going to stick with that first period at plus 125. And then I am going like you, Panthers, Lightning. I don't want to get burned like I did with the Kings and the Oilers. I'm going first period under 1.5 between Florida and Tampa Bay.
Very rare baseball play coming for me today. We're going to make it 3 for 3 on that San Diego-Detroit first 5 under. It just two good pitchers. Weather's not particularly awesome in Detroit. And again, we're taking the pitchers more so than anything in Pavetta and Flaherty. So under 4 first 5, a rare play for me in baseball. And then we'll just throw one more thing out here. I'm on the Lightning, even money to win their series against Florida. Now, I probably will go back for more if the Panthers win game 1. The Lightning are the better hockey team, and home ice will matter in this series. That is a really high-end home ice for Tampa at Amalie Arena, just on the water there in Tampa. All right, that's what we got. We're back tomorrow in a little under 23 hours from now. Get you ready for Wednesday across the board in the sports betting landscape. Kenny, Alex, good work as always. Let's get some over 500 winners here today. Shout out to Ann, Drew Dog, Vince, Ryan, Jerry, wherever he may be, and Sean as well, enjoying his off day. Check us out right here on the YouTube page. If you're not hitting subscribe already, please hit subscribe. All of our NFL draft content's out as well, so give that a watch right here on the YouTube channel. We'll see you again next time. Sports by the Book live, as always, from Las Vegas here at the South Point.